So this is Diriyah, round 2, the first doubleheader of the season. A tight, twisty street circuit, but this is one of the driver's favourite tracks to race on. Historically, the pole sitter at the start has gone on to win this race in the last 7 outings. Let's see if Sebastian Buemi can do it. So this is Kevin van der Linde's first outing in Formula E, replacing Robin Frijns after he had to have a hand operation from his accident in Mexico. He finds himself at the back of the grid. However, he makes his way up to 18th on lap 3, ultimately finishing in P16. Not a bad first outing. Dan Ticktum qualifies in his best position ever, although he has mentioned he is unhappy with the car's actual race pace. His concerns seem to be profound. P14 by the end of the race. It just goes to show that Neo is struggling with race pace. So the race winner from Mexico, Jake Dennis, can only get himself a length on the grid to start. However, after a good strong race, he manages to get himself up to P6 after a clean attack. From then on, he pushes Hughes. Eventually, getting past Hughes and getting past Ras, Dennis then starts to close down on Bird. Right towards the end of the race, Dennis' radio eventually breaks. However, he does get into P2 and finish up there. That's a 9-place jump from the start of the race. Fantastic driving from Dennis again. So Sam Bird starts his 100th race. He quickly takes P2 and he is a man on a mission, certain to rewrite the last season with not even getting a podium. He eventually takes P1 and starts pulling away from the rest of the pack, commanding a strong lead over the rest of the field. This would be his first win in 2 years if he does secure the victory. However, he has to defend hard, ultimately losing his first place position. Jake Hughes finds himself second on the grid at the start of the race, and he eventually starts putting pressure on Buemi as the rookie is really pushing the veteran hard. Hughes has never raced on this track before, so it just goes to show a great drive from him, and he's got fantastic pace. Hughes eventually, however, does drop down to 9th place, a mixture of bad timings on attacks and just poor performance from the McLaren altogether. So Sebastian Buemi starts on pole, his 100th race in Formula E. However, he can't hold on to it for very long as he's quickly overtaken by Bird. Ultimately, Buemi's fight was with the McLarens in the end, eventually settling for P4, but remaining ahead of the McLarens. It's been a bad start to the year for Jaguar TCS Racing. With Evans and Rast fighting off the line, Evans is ultimately given a 5-second time penalty, although he did just simply lock up and lose track position. Maybe a little bit harsh from the judges on that one. Ultimately, he would end up locking up once more as well whilst racing. Terrible start to the season for Jaguar. Verline starts here for his 50th race in Formula E. However, he only starts 9th on the grid. Verline is pushing hard and pushing Hughes to the extreme. Verline eventually gets all over the back of Buemi and eventually pushes his way past them. Verline then overcooks it on Bird and ultimately has to come back, but eventually does take the lead from Bird. Verline has managed to pull up 8 places and ultimately goes on to win the Diriyah round 2. A fantastic drive from him and a fantastic performance to climb so far up the field. It just goes to show the Porsche powertrain is very effective this year. Although a strong and commanding drive, he wasn't able to use the popper correctly on the final podium. With only a couple of accidents to make note of, with Da Costa having to go in for a new wing, managing to catch the back of the train before being lapped by the safety car, and Fenestraz ultimately putting his car into the wall whilst going for attack mode. Relatively clean race all in all.